Alright, YouTube, what's up? This is Chaos Christ. Thinking I'm gonna do a little new segment. Just a little thing where I, reminisce on various things. Nostalgic things and things that I'd like or have liked in the past or do still like. So this one, I'm gonna focus on one of my favorite horror and movie in general series of all time, the ever cheesy and awesome Child's Play series. Okay, so apparently people find Chucky scary, or that was the initial intention with the series. However, this is not how it ended up, and I'm going to go into the progression of that and just my various thoughts on the different films and, just what I think overall about it. And, alright, so the first movie is called Child's Play, and it was made in 1987, I believe, the year I was born, and it's starring Brad Dourif as the voice of Chucky, the man who does the voice of Chucky in every single Chucky movie to date. No one else could do his voice. Anyway, so Chucky, whose actual name is Charles Lee Ray, is essentially gunned down in a toy store by a cop on Christmas Eve. So he does basically a voodoo spell and passes his soul as he's dying into a what's called a good guy doll, which is apparently the hot item, for the little kids to all want, like Tickle Me Elmo or Furby or whatever fucking shit, the kids want this year. I don't fucking know, but that's what I wanted when I was a kid. Fucking Furby. That shit was completely retarded thinking back, but goddamn, I wanted it. Anyway, so yeah, there's this little kid named Andy Barkley, and he really wants himself a good guy doll for Christmas because, every little boy wants the same fucking thing because, when you're that age, you just want to be part of the crowd, you do everything, you don't think about it. But anyway, that's beside the point. So little Andy is really hopeful for this doll, he would be very disappointed without it. But his mother can't find anywhere in any of the stores, so, her random friend, I think, just happens to know a bum, or happens to have seen a bum who's selling one on the street. So, of course, not missing an opportunity, she buys it, and gives it to Andy for Christmas. And dark things start happening. Deaths start happening. Andy's babysitter dies, and they find footprints of good guy shoes. Those good guy dolls are a huge brand, and Andy's all dressed up in good guy pajamas and shoes, So they initially think it's him. But in reality, we know it isn't him. We know it's Chucky. So a little further into the movie, a bunch of shit starts happening, and the mother finally starts to believe Andy. So she picks up Chucky. And, she picks up the box Chucky came in, and the batteries fall out. Still in the package. Separate package the batteries were in. And, it says batteries included on the box. And she's like, wait a minute, there's no batteries in this doll. How has it been talking this whole time? Because it was, an animatronic doll pre-programmed to say shit, Furby. So, she turns the fire on in her fireplace and holds him and basically says, "Show me who you really are, or I'm going to throw you in the fire." Well, without skipping a beat, Chucky, revealing the true humor that was to come of this series, says, "Fuck you, bitch, I'll teach you to fuck with me." So yeah, fast forwarding the plot a little bit, eventually the cop that gunned down Charles Lee Ray ends up meeting up with the mother. You know, she pleads with him to believe her about the story with the doll and all that shit. But he doesn't, of course. So eventually, you know, the climax ends it up back at the apartment of Andy and his mom. And Chucky, you know, is all burnt to a crisp from being thrown in the fireplace. Andy delivers a pretty good line as he lights Chucky aflame. And then, you know, they think that's it, but of course that's not it. Chucky very humorously continues despite getting his arms, legs, head, everything shot off until he's finally shot in the heart. And that's the end of that movie. First Child's Play. Well, after this, I think they started to realize that the humor that was to be found in the series. So, Child's Play 2. Well, I guess I'll give you my thoughts on the first movie. I think the first movie was good, you know. It was a good starting point. You know, it's the first movie they had to get the feel for everything. I think they did a good job with the effects for the time. It was very good effects. Anyway, Child's Play 2 starts out with Chucky being reassembled for some bullshit MacGuffin reason to get him back into the plot. Basically, they're reassembling him to prove there was nothing wrong with him. No one tampered with the electronics. Not that they, you know, would need to reassemble him to figure that out. But we had to figure out some way to get Chucky back in this movie. And so, you know, Chucky electrocutes one of the guys working on him and blah, blah, blah. You know, they scrap that project and somehow Louise's little corporate brown noser ends up taking Chucky, putting him in his car. Well, that night, Chucky decides he wants to play. So, Chucky kills him, you know, gets him to drive to Andy's. Finds, you know, the address somehow. I believe he makes some phone calls or something while this dude is in a store or something on his car phone. And, of course, you know, once there, he murders him. You know, Andy has been taken away from his mother in this movie, and, you know, he's now living with a foster family. And, it just so happens that foster family just happened to have a good guy doll lying around in the house. How convenient! So, Chucky kills the doll and assumes his place. And, fucks with Andy basically the whole movie. There's a really, really good scene that's fucking hilarious where he beats a teacher to death with a fucking ruler. You have been very naughty, Miss Cattlewell. Love that line. So yeah, essentially fast forward through that movie. There's this one other chick in foster care with him. She's older, she's a teenager, and, you know, she ends up finding out about all this Chucky shit and ends up Chucky uses her to get to Andy, and etc., etc. They end up at a good guy doll factory. And Chucky's chased them all around. Chucky gets Andy. He's about to transfer his soul into him, only to find out that he's been too long in the body. That's a rule that was established in the first film. As the longer Chucky spends in the doll's body, the more human it becomes. Though it's often contradicted by the insane amount of punishment that his body is able to withstand. But, despite that, you know, after a certain amount of time, he's too human and he can no longer transfer his soul into another human. And the reason that he's after Andy is because the very first person that you reveal your secret to, that you know, transferred soul, I guess, is the only one you can transfer your soul into, and the person just happened to be Andy. So, you know, after that, I guess Chucky just wants to kill him because he's pissed off. I mean, you know, his whole plan's fucked. He's pissed. Just chase them all around the factory, you know, and he gets really mutilated, gets his hand ripped off, fucking jams a knife onto the stump, because that's how hardcore his ass is. That's just how he rolls. But they ended up killing him by basically melting him and then inflating him to the point where he explodes. So that's the end of that movie. I really like this one. It had a lot of funny moments. Had a lot of cool moments, and it's one of my favorite ones in the series. And then there's Child's Play 3. And Child's Play 3 takes place, I don't know, maybe like 10 years later when Andy's much older and in military school, and they're re-cleaning up the old good guy doll factory, and apparently Chucky's still stuck to the floor from the second movie, and some of his blood ends up in the plastic they're melting to make the new good guy dolls. And so Chucky's reborn in that way. Pretty cool scene. He ends up in, like, I think the toy manufacturer's CEO's office and kills him pretty good. And so he makes his way to the military school somehow, finds out where Andy is, only to realize that now that since he's in a new body, he can tell a secret to another person and just transfer soul into them, since, you know, Andy's fucking prepared for this shit. He knows what's coming. He's not gonna fucking trust a good guy doll as far as he can. Well, you know, he's not gonna fucking trust him. And so there's this little black kid that he decides to pick, that, you know, I guess that's the one he picks. The first kid he comes in contact with, pretty much, I think. But so throughout that movie, basically, Chucky's just fucking with all the people in the military school. He fucking kills a bunch of them, replaces the fake bullets and the practice guns with actual bullets, and they kill each other. That's pretty fucking cool. And the humor was dialed back somewhat in this one from the second. It was more darker, you know. It was honestly, you know, not my favorite in the series. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't a strong point either, in my opinion. I honestly like Chucky for the humor. I just like Chucky as a character, you know. So yeah, I like it when he gets his good one-liners in there and all that shit. So then the fourth movie comes out, and that's Bride of Chucky. And this movie straight up played for comedy. It's Tiffany, apparently Chucky's ex-lover, finally gets the doll's pieces back together after all these years and sews them back together. Gets a Voodoo for Dummies book out and does a spell. It seems nothing happens, and her stupid goth supposed boyfriend, he thinks that, you know, he's her boyfriend, but in reality that's not the case. So he kills him, you know. And you know, so apparently there was this misconception that a ring he had stolen was intended as a engagement ring for her for all these years, and once Chucky lets that slip, that's not the case. She gets pissed off at him, locks him in a crib. So Chucky's pissed off this, and uses the ring to saw through the wooden bars, and electrocutes her to death by pushing a TV into the bathtub. And she had just happened to buy a bride doll to fuck with Chucky with, so he transfers her soul into that. And you know, basically that movie is them using Tiffany's next door neighbor and his girlfriend to get to Hackensack, New Jersey, because apparently there was some fucking amulet on Charles Lee Ray's body that he could use to transfer soul in anybody he wanted. Seems a little weird that he never thought of this in the first three movies, but okay. So, you know, there's a lot of really great scenes in that movie, like one where Chucky is crawling on the ground and some stoner in his car sees him and Chucky flips him off, and the stoner's like, rude fucking doll. That was great. And the scene where they're fucking, that was awesome. And so yeah, overall I think Bride of Chucky, along with the second one, are two favorite ones in the series. And then there's Seed of Chucky, which people seem to hate. Honestly, I don't hate it. It definitely wasn't the strongest one in the series, but it fucked up some continuity, but it was still had some funny moments. Essentially, baby is born out of Tiffany at the very end of Bride of Chucky as a cliffhanger, and the beginning of this movie follows up on that. And there's this little kid named Fuckface or something like that, by the guy who found him, and he has no genitalia. And so he sees, apparently there's this movie being made about Chucky and Tiffany. He sees them on TV, so he's like, oh my god, holy shit, these are living dolls. They must fucking be my parents. And so he goes down to Hollywood somehow. He finds his way there. And he finds his way to the studio, and he had the amulet on him from the cemetery somehow. I guess he had the amulet. And so he does the spell over these two animatronic Chucky and Tiffany dolls, and they come to life, which, continuity-wise doesn't really make sense because it always required part of Chucky's body for him to return to life, but whatever. At this point, they're just saying fuck everything. I mean, the voice actress and the person who played Tiffany is Jennifer Tilly, and Jennifer Tilly is in this movie playing Tiffany, and she's also in this movie playing Jennifer Tilly. So yeah. Jennifer Tilly's a really good sport, though. She makes fun of herself like so much, and is just really good. And she's very obviously got a very good sense of humor about herself and how she's portrayed in the media and all that shit. So good for her. One really great scene in this movie is Chucky jerking off in your cup. You gotta see that scene. It's just, some people I guess didn't like it, but I thought that was just some of the funniest shit ever, especially after the all fucking scene from Bride of Chucky. So yeah, I didn't dislike Seed of Chucky, but apparently a lot of people did. So the last movie in the series ended it on a sour note. So now they're rebooting the series, which normally with any movie series I would be very pessimistic about. However, this reboot is gonna have the same writer, same director, same voice actor for Chucky. It's gonna be a remake of the original with all the same people, not a bunch of dumbasses fucking ruining the creative vision of these people. This is their own creation. They're apparently, though, trying to bring it back to its horror elements and remove the comedic elements, which I honestly find a bit disappointing, but still, there hasn't been a Chucky movie in quite a while, and I will eagerly go and see that movie. And I work in a movie theater, and I have, for like 3 years, I've maybe gone to see 5 movies, most of them because friends want me to take them. I don't really care for movies. The only one I really went to see that I wanted to see was Pirates of the Caribbean 4, and I'll do a video about Pirates of the Caribbean, I'm sure, sometime in the future. So yeah, anyway, my thoughts on the Chucky series are that I think it's a good series. It has its ups and its downs, and I'm really looking forward to the reboot and what's going to happen there. I'm really curious as to what they're going to do differently, and I hope they don't change Chucky too much, because he is a beloved character by a lot of people, including myself. This is Chaos Christ. Peace the fuck out, guys.